káàbọ̀ nílùú Enugu State. Kí wà láyọ̀, kí n bọ̀ láyọ̀. Your Excellency, mo ń kí yín, gbogbo wa ó ń kí yín lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀. Mo ń kí yín, kò lè kú ni, ikú kò lè mú yín. 2027, Ọlọ́run máa gbé yín débẹ̀ padà. Your Excellency, kí n wà láyọ̀, kí n bọ̀ láyọ̀. Eke. 2027, Orekelewa, ikú kò lè mú yín. Your Excellency, sir, ní ọdún ìwà máa ṣe Christmas fún gbogbo alábìrin. Wọ́n ń kí yín o, gbogbo alábìrin tó wà nípa ẹ̀ ó ń kí yín o. Jẹ́ kí wọ́n kọrin fún Your Excellency. Ṣé kí n kọrin padà? Eke. Our tomorrow is here. Peter Mba is here. Our tomorrow is here. Your Excellency, ẹ káàbọ̀ sílùú Enugu. Ẹ káàbọ̀ Your Excellency. Gbogbo alábìrin ó kí yín o. Eke àti eke. 2027, ikú kò lè mú yín. Eke. 2027, ikú kò lè mú yín. Ikú kò lè mú yín. Eke. Peter Mba is here. Our tomorrow is here. Peter Mba is here. Our tomorrow is here. Peter Mba is here. Our tomorrow is here. I hear you. Peter Mba is here. Our tomorrow is here. Again, Peter Mba is here. Our tomorrow is here. Peter Mba is here. Our tomorrow is here. Peter Mba is here. Our tomorrow is here. Peter Mba is here. I can speak it. Peter Mba is here. Our tomorrow is here. Peter Mba is here. Our tomorrow is here. Peter Mba is here. Our tomorrow. Eke, I see.
The chairmen of local governments are also here. The outgoing chairman, leading a battery of chairmen, and the chairman of Enugu North is here also. Thank you. Mr. President, we are most honored to have you in Enugu State, where we say that tomorrow is here. We are advancing and moving forward, and grateful that you found time to be with us this 4th day of January 2025. His Excellency, the Governor of Enugu State, playing host to our President. Together we will make a reality. Mr. President is here. Mr. President is here. We are glad.
It is again with immense joy and pride that the people of Enugu State welcome you to Enugu, and we say no, Deji. We are indeed very grateful to have the honor of your presence to commission the 19-kilometer airport, Misala, Opera Square, and New Haven roads. And it's also a symbol that represents 90 urban roads that will be done between October 2023 and October 2024. A total of the length is 128 kilometers, the urban road. But we have indeed completed 313 kilometers of road and currently constructing 1,417 kilometers currently ongoing. We are indeed honored, and it is my honor to invite you to formally commission the airport, Vitala, New Haven, Opera Square Road. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank you, Mr. President. We are grateful to you.
Under the administration of His Excellency, Dr. Peter Otibusi, Governor Enugu State. Today, on the 4th January 2025.
Thank you, Mr. President. Jagaban. Jagaban. Thank you very much, Mr. President. The Grand Commander of the Federal Republic. We love you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. We are happy that you came. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. No, Dalo. Jagaban. Thank you. Thank you.
This is Channels Television, your home for the news, and we are on to a live broadcast of Mr. President's visit to Enugu State to commission a number of projects, including schools, road infrastructure, primary healthcare centers in Enugu. And this marks Mr. President's first official visit to any state in year 2025. Of course, he's been to Lagos for his holiday. So this is Mr. President's first visit to Enugu State, and indeed to any state in 2025. The President has just commissioned a project in Enugu. He's moving on to another project. Remember, it's a long line of projects that he'll be commissioning, marking a culmination of the infrastructure drive of the Governor Peter Mba administration in Enugu State. Of course, he'll also be commissioning the handing over of security equipment to the security agencies in Enugu State. And we're going to be keeping tabs with the President's itinerary in Enugu State as he continues on this commissioning drive. But as we keep our tabs on the President's schedule this afternoon in Enugu, joining us on the program for this special broadcast dedicated to the President's visit is the Chairman, Guild of Public Affairs Analysts in Enugu State, Mr. Ambrose Igboke, who is here with us in our Lagos studio, for an analysis of what is happening in Enugu State today. Thank you so much, Mr. Ambrose, Mr. Igboke, for your time and for holding on thus far.
Thank you for having me.
Now, as we continue with this coverage, it appears a culmination of a number of projects in Enugu State through different sectors, infrastructure in the area of roads, in primary healthcare, and even in education. Tell us, how well has this been processed through the people's needs? How much input did they have into this choice of infrastructure that the Mba administration has decided to focus on?
I can recall vividly that during the 2023 preparation for the 2023 election, in 2022, Mr. Peter Mba came out with his manifesto, and it was a well-detailed manifesto. And he was telling us categorically that he was going to do what the content of the manifesto was going to be implemented, and that he has done his study, and that he has done his homework, he has done his feasibility, and that he did this with interviews, he did it with physical assessments, he did it with financial experts, he did it, so he was on ground. They were doing all it across the civil service, across the people, so he was able to ferret, what the needs of the people are through these feasibility studies and focused discussion groups and all kinds of research methods that were put into it. So by the time the election was getting closer, by the time they were going to the field, he already has a document that was a result of those research and those investigations that he has done. So from the time he was already contesting, he had what he wanted to do. He had a good picture, was all documented. And he said he was going to execute them. So I remember the manifesto said he was going to construct 10,000 kilometers of road before he leaves office. Now there's 1,470 kilometers already in the first 1.5 years. And when a lot of us questioned what's the length and breadth of Enugu State that you're going to have 10,000 kilometers of road. But he also went further to explain that these things were going to be, an addition of all the roads that we're going to be doing within the state. So it's not going to be just a longitudinal stretch of road. Then he also talked about water. Enugu is an old city. Enugu is a city of 115 years old. Okay? So there used to be water when the colonial people were there, but Enugu has not spread. It's just what we have between Iva Valley and what we call the GRA area now. But as expansion came, the various governments didn't, put water into consideration, potable water. So the residents largely depended on tankers, water tankers for their potable water needs. And that also was contained in a document that he was going to do within 180 days, that he was going to do make water available to Enugu people. What they were able to do within the 160 days was that the problems met on ground, like the pipes. That promise was premised on the fact that all things being equal, that, reticulation. But we found out that there were 2 million liters of water being produced when he took over office, according to the documents released by the government. And that at the end of the day, they were able to now take care of the generation capacity of water in Enugu State for now, which is now, Enugu needed 80 million liters of water per day. Now, generation capacity is 120 million liters already. So that already exceeds. And the government is saying they want to ramp it up. So this
reticulation, does it cater to the needs
we're talking about generation for now.
Okay.
Generation, the source of water. First you have to have water before you reticulate.
Okay. So it doesn't go inside homes at the moment?
Yeah, it goes into a lot of homes, but it has not covered everywhere because most of the pipes that were there are old pipes that are no longer. Those pipes were put during the eastern region, which is almost 60 years old, and some of them are rusted, some of them are no longer the modern pipes that are used to convey potable water. So, and then some of this is because they were not in use. A lot of people have actually built houses, a lot of houses on the pathway,
channels,
yes, on the water. So the government was now said they were torn between, bringing down a lot of houses and then taking new routes. And then most of them, especially in Emene, for example, government said that a lot of houses have been built. So instead of destroying people's homes, they started to take new route. And then a lot of the pipes were, because the pressure of the water from the 9th mile and from the source now, which is now the government stepped down electricity over for 8 megawatts. They now produce another 4 megawatts of electricity for backup. So the problem of source has been taken care of. But again, they now found that when they pumped, a lot of pipes were busting in Enugu. So the first time they made an attempt to pump, we found out that some of the pipes were already weak. I think this was not envisaged at the beginning. But as they were doing it, we saw them changing pipes. People were reporting burst pipes here and there. At the point they had to tune off, they had to come back, they have to do a lot of things. But basically in GRA area around, there's water. In New Haven, there is water. Part of Ogui, part of Uwani, and the Independence layout areas, there are water now, because those ones, then there are infrastructure like Parkland Hospital in Enugu that was not having water now. Water, the mains have passed through there, and then they have been having water.
And in the long term, I hope that this increase in generation capacity will also cover rural areas.
Yes, that's what the government is saying. Because government is saying they want to ramp it even up to 250 liters per day. So right now, what government
million liters, you mean?
Yes, million liters. What they are doing per day now is what they are doing right now. In fact, the government signed, I think 2 months ago in November, signed a kind of MOU for last mile connection, metering system connection for residents. So what they want to do, the last mile. Some investors are coming with the money, and they want to see how they can now, take up that channeling of water to last mile, to residents, and then meter them. The governor, there was a town hall meeting the governor did recently, ending of November, and issues of payment charges came up when the metering is completed, and he assured Enugu people that it's going to be far less for what they're even spending now, paid to the water corporation, or what they are spending on far less from what they're spending on water tankers. And so governments have been able now to shift that responsibility of financing to private investors who are now coming in to do that. So when government, you have provided the water, you are doing some part of the reticulation. So the nice mile connection to the houses also. If there are investors who are ready to take that meter, and then also maybe share some kind of process. So I think that is a good way to go.
That question is instructive because the areas that government has prioritized are areas where they can resort to self-help and afford self-help in the area of water provision for themselves. But in the rural areas, people cannot afford boreholes and all the other sophistication as far as water provision is concerned. But let's touch on education. And, there seems to be a concept tied to the schools that Governor Peter Mbai is building, which is smart green schools. And he's commissioning, the president is commissioning 30 smart green schools today in Enugu State. Tell us the concept behind the Smart Green School Initiative.
Well, from the time the governor was campaigning, it was like we are operating a kind of an obsolete system of education that is not in tandem with global competition. The governor feels that our children, which is rightly so, that the children from Enugu State are moving out to compete first with other children from other states in the country, then other children from African countries, from Rwanda, from South Africa, Ghana, and the rest. They're going to compete with children from Canada, from the United States of America, China, UK, everywhere in the world. So because we are global citizens, because the world is a global village. Therefore, he said that it is much inadequate to now, have this kind of standard of education. So something radically had to be done. And the mantra of the governor is what you call disruptive innovation. So he came up with this disruptive idea. Look, we can actually build, not to be far from everybody, not to just isolate it. Let's use the political wards. There are 260 wards, political wards in Enugu State. Okay. Can we build one school, green smart school in each ward? So that they can have, at least, it will not be something like a pipe dream where children cannot access. Within that, let's start with that, 260. So there was a pilot project in Owo, in his own ward. That one is already running, and it's already, it was a pilot project, and it worked out well. The idea behind this, the Green Smart School, according to government, is, look, let's build our children into global citizens, into global intellectuals, inculcating them the right things that are modern, that will drive them to the next stage. So you build a school that is powered, first of all, by green technology, so mostly solar. You build a school that has internet facilities. You build a school that have labs, both pure science, physical science, and then even robotic labs. You build a school that has AI-powered solutions. You build a school that have boards that are interactive. A teacher can go online while teaching the students and all those kind of things. You build a school that is conducive for the children to inhibit. You build a school that has experiential learning environment. And so these are things, and so many others come together.
And they're built from scratch.
From brand new schools. And the president and the governor in the last town hall meeting was, he was explaining that the blocks that you even see coming up in many places are the cheaper aspects of the project. That the more expensive part of the project are the equipment. So because they are going to be, so we are talking about also learning tabs for children to learn, computer systems and all those things. And he was giving us an example of his own word, that when he traveled to his own world recently, that children whom he saw during this campaign that were not able to read, that were not able to write, even after 6 years of school, he was surprised. The same children were now tinkering with equipment and, were so savvy with computer. Some of them are already learning coding and programming. These are children that couldn't read and write. So he said because of that, he's spurred on to do more. And that if this can be replicated, that is imagining the quantum effect it will have in the next 10, 15, 20 years when these people will become adults. And he's also saying that apart from the smart green schools, which are the primary level, these are brand new. If you go to Enugu now, you see a lot of them. A lot of them are coming up in every ward. In my own word, I'm going to say word in Akko. Our own is also at the Linton level already. So when you're traveling around Enugu, you see seeing them all over. Some of started some are going to start this, some are in the 2025 budget. And already starting. So
and
it's
this
huge.
has implications for employment in the education sector across the value chain when you consider academic staff, non-teaching staff, the catering for food for the children and all of that. So talk to us about that.
Well, it has a direct, first of all, the direct effect has already started. The contractors that are handling the project, imagine 260
It's the
schools.
pain that we go through in the past 18 months is now beginning to yield good results. Part of evidence of this is here we are commissioning multi-purpose center for economic, business, opportunity, growth, and sustainable development of one of our very historic states. May God bless Enugu State. Conference Center. The Enugu
Enugu women there giving President Bola Tinubu a very warm welcome indeed. And that was moments after the president commissioned the International Conference Center on the popular Independence layout in Enugu State. And of course, let's just remind you that it's one out of a long list of infrastructure projects under the Peter Mba administration that President Bola Tinubu will be commissioning this afternoon in Enugu State. And we're keeping tabs on the president's itinerary right here from our Lagos studio in Channels Television. And I have with me so far the chairman, Guild of Public Affairs Analysts in Enugu State, Dr. Ambrose Igboke, who's been with us in our studio in the last half hour. Dr. Agboke, thank you so much for your time. And you were reacting to that landmark project, the International Conference Center Center in Enugu State. You said something about it being abandoned for
Yes,
17 years.
for 17 good years, because the project was started by the former governor of Enugu State, Chimaroke Namani. So when he left office, the project was, not attended to by the consequent government. So when Dr. Peter Mbak came in, he took it over, and his premise for doing this was that, look, that the meeting, conferencing industry in Africa has been taken over by countries like Rwanda, taking over countries. So international people rather have meetings in Rwanda, South Africa, Ghana, and Kenya. So what happens to Nigeria? Apart from the International Conference Center in Abuja, what else do we have? What actually attracts people? So he believes that Enugu is the hub. Enugu has enough potential for tourism. And to attract one of these people to come is to have a befitting conference center that will be able to cater to the conference and meeting needs of the international community, both local, international, even in the subcontinent. And therefore, so he took it as a priority and added some features. He's building a brand new, they built a brand new 300-room hotel that will, help in also making people stay there. Then the presidential hotel that was built by the former premier of the Eastern region, late Michael Okpara, was abandoned. He built one in Enugu and he built one in Port Harcourt. Unfortunately, Enugu stopped working so many years ago. While the Port Harcourt one is still working, they have even added another block to it. So Enugu was abandoned. So part of it is as a nexus to this international conference center. Just behind the street behind it, which is Rangers Avenue, is where we have the presidential hotel. So he's also renovating that to make sure the presidential hotel stops so that it can fit this international conference center. And also the 300-room capacity hotel will also inside the international conference center will fit the conference center. The conference center has 5,000 capacity. The main bowl, and there's some meeting rooms and the rest. And then it's facing the iconic Okpara Square, also in Enugu. And there's a conservation park, just across too. So it's at the heartbeat of Enugu. Also, adjacent it is, by the other side of it, is the government house, facing the government house itself. So it is properly located, not far from the airport, located in the beehive of activities on ground. By this other side is Presidential Road. By the other side is Bisala Street, where the government house is located. Behind it is Rangers Avenue, where we also have the Presidential Hotel. And then just in front of it is Okpara Square. Adjacent to it is the House of Assembly. So it is cocooned between major infrastructure in the state. And that is deliberate to ensure that it has
in a central business district. But as far as, that's an ambitious drive, the goal of taking over conferencing, for major...
Well, you said you want to tap into the $10 billion industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Enugu State, alongside the other Southeast states, have a lot of confidence boosting initiatives, for those who would come as patrons for this international conference center because of the concern about security in the Southeast. Talk to us about what the Peter Mbak administration is doing, to bring that market share where conferencing is concerned into Enugu State.
One of the first issues he took headlong was the issue of sit at home, which was every Monday was strictly observed. So,
still observed?
No, civil servants in Enugu now, civil service is not observed in Enugu anymore. Banks are now open. But when we were observing sit at home, no banks were opened, no eateries were open, no schools were open, nothing. It's total standstill.
But entrepreneurs say that it's still observed across the Southeast.
No, in Enugu it's not observed. Because what do you call observation where banks are opened? From 8 o'clock every morning, you go to the bank, you can do your business. Filling stations are opened. Markets are opened. Eateries are opened. Schools are opened. I go to work every Monday. Every civil servant goes to work every Monday. So if there are other states, maybe.
What about markets? Are markets
are opened
in Enugu
on Mondays. So
you're saying this categorically because reports are to the contrary.
I live in Enugu, so I don't know where those people are reporting from. Because Enugu is Mondays are normal days in Enugu. So I don't know where those people are reporting from, but I live there. I'm not talking as somebody. I'm not reading from the newspapers or from TV or from what people say. I live there. I work there. So if you also want to do an investigation, you have reporters there too. I know your reporters there. They can go around and do something on a Monday morning for you to see. It's very clear. School students go to work. So when schools are opened, both public and private, when banks are opened, when all other businesses are opened, what else? When civil servants are go to work. So I don't know what else you mean by not being open. So, but before then, we're not having all those things. Then also in security, there is a concerted effort to ensure that security is also digitized, that security is enhanced through equipment. And one of the things we have seen that the government is doing is, if you come all over to Enugu Metropolis, and also it's happening in the local government headquarters especially now, is in the construction of, they have constructed cameras, AI-powered cameras that can actually go, the radius is far, can pick digital pictures, color pictures. Even inside your car, it can pick you up to your the bust level. They have been, connected in various parts of the metropolis and in some selected parts of the local governments. It may not be everywhere, but again, to take care of the deficit of physical infrastructure, of fixing poles and cameras, the vehicles, the cars that were given to the security agencies, what we call a distress, it constituted a distress response squad, DRS. And part of the thing is that the vehicles are also manned with sophisticated equipment. One of them is also AI powered cameras that can see very far. Some of them have, they also have metal detectors that can detect serious
So
metal.
this funded under the 20 billion naira security investment fund of the
security investment just started. Some of this have been funded under the budget, coming, but they want to also take it up higher. It's a journey. The security is a journey. Even in most sophisticated countries of the world, they still have their security issues and the rest. And every day you keep doing more. But what they have achieved so far was not through this. Security Trust Fund of 20 billion naira was just instituted sometime in 2024. So with that, they were able to also try to boost more, maybe enhance the cameras and do a lot more. One good thing is that now, from one point to other, security checkpoints, security surveillance areas can now talk to each other. Even some of these things are also powered by infrared and so many other technology they can see in the night. It's not just for the daytime alone. And then the alarm system. So many other things are there coming up. So I think what the government is trying to do, this integrated approach, to ensure that when you see things like that, and you feel that a security response, because it also has one response system. All these cameras are now, coordinated in a command and control center that also the president is going to commission, in Enugu. So the command and control center, I think, from my own knowledge, I think it's only in Lagos State that I've had such in the past, where all the cameras, all the infrastructure that have been put in place can now be monitored effectively to coordinate security threat, to combat security threat, and also coordinate emergency responses. So that's what the governments have also done. When you go into the government house, you see some of these things done.
So what would you say has been the quick gains from this technology-powered component of security provision in Enugu State, particularly in checking the menace of attacks, and even sometimes security agents themselves are targeted by this, unknown gunmen phenomenon?
Some of the things is that, in security parlance, deterrent is a very powerful method for, curbing crime. Because when somebody comes, and that is why when you see when people even go to burgle a house, when you see the CCTV footage, you see the first thing they are looking for is CCTV to see if they can blow it out or take it out. Why? Because it threatens them, okay? It exposes them, the identity and the rest. So, first of all, so it's acted as a deterrent for that. Then for the security people, when you drive in a tattered vehicle, your vehicle cannot move, you are changing batteries. I mean, it's a common sight in Nigeria. We see policemen pushing their truck. I say, what is there's an emergency? These guys, their lives are in danger. And then also sometimes the vehicles are not purpose fit. They are ordinary vehicles just given to them. And sometimes they are too big. They cannot maneuver small places. But with this now, These vehicles are compact, very small vehicles that can actually maneuver places. The dignity of the labor is now there. Confidence boosting for the men. Even boots were given to them. Equipment, personal security effect for them. So when you see people on the DSR squad, you can see that they are very confident. So there's nothing like motivation for anybody who is working, even all of us who are working in our different places. Motivation plays a lot of role, and when you have that kind of confidence booster in the security, you can see them doing better jobs, and you can see that they can also be able to coordinate with themselves. For example, if there's something happening in Abakpa Junction and somebody is in Ogui Road, they can easily now communicate, and these things can be tracked because the camera can pick. Let's say there's a hijack of a car, the camera can pick the person, and if the person is going towards the other direction, you just notify the other people. A lot of things have been able. So, as I said earlier, the issue of security is a journey. And these guys are not done 2 years in office. So we give them the benefit that by the time they are doing their midterm assessment for their first term, and then we can now say, okay, where have we gone? We thought what the advantages are there to count. But as we say, there will not be, even in the most sophisticated systems, you still see crime. The other day in Germany for Christmas time, we saw what happened as somebody rammed the car. We saw all the bombings that are happening in the United States of America.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are truly, truly delighted to welcome you once again to Enugu, and we cannot express enough our gratitude for this honor. This is now the 4th location. We know how tight your schedules are. What's more, at this time of the year, the competing demands of your time. But to demonstrate the love you have for the people of Enugu, you elected at this very critical time the first activity of the year to come to Enugu to honor us with your presence and to commission our project. We cannot thank you enough, Mr. President. Thank you so much. Your Excellency, it is indeed my honor and privilege to invite you once again to commission this command and control center, a center that is designed to help us respond and to fight crime, nip it in the bud with the 21st century technology, with all the AI and thermal equipment. Your Excellency, this building, as you soon see inside, has given us the confidence and the conviction we can stay here and deal with the criminal gangs that are terrorizing our people. And so we have reason to be able to attract investors and have them come here and invest. Once again, it's my honor to call on Your Excellency to please do us the honor to commission this command.
Your Excellency, once again, it's a great honor to be in Enugu. And I say once again, Happy New Year to everyone. It is a joy, and I feel relaxed and at home with you. It's an homecoming for me. This is a serious demonstration of what we can do together, what we can build together. And this has reassured me the fact that more revenue going to subnational and local government
is not to waste, it's development. And when we have characters and leaders like Peter Odubuslimba taking on the path of 21st century development, building our tomorrow today, I cannot forget the sight of those small children as I just met in the green 21st century school. We're going further. We commissioned the infrastructural development. We went to the multi-purpose hall. And here we are, commissioning the investment and security that will bring about rapid development. I could see the vehicles, gadgets with 21st century technology. Yes, you indeed are planning for today, tomorrow, and the future of Enugu. You are a good thinker, but you're my friend. We can go places together. Working hard. Building Nigeria, building the future. It is audacious to have this whole filled with technology and be ready for use to promote investment. One thing we all know, you are a private sector person. We must encourage more private sector to come into politics. And I thank you very much. I say investment is very hard. They run away from trouble. And when you are assured security, development, and give value for their money, they'll be your friend. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President, for this one that you have done today. We are grateful indeed.
Government out Enugu, commissioned by His Excellency Bola Ahmed, GCFR, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria, under the administration of His Excellency Dr. Peter Odubuslimba, Governor of Enugu State, on this day, January 4th, 2025.
Oga, your approach, you don't talk to me that way. You are a grown-up person. I'm a grown-up person.
I'm a House of Reps member.
Do you know
Are you not higher than me in protocol?
which
You say I should talk to you. How should I talk to you?
do that House of Reps?
No. But I told you.
Supposed to be inside. Huh? You can't enter. You're late. You share from them.
Not even one person that is from government there. I'm a media analyst.
Which media?
I'm a media analyst. I told you yesterday. And they wrote my name.
Enugu has just commissioned the Command and Control Center in Enugu State, which also will be featuring the handover of security equipment, security vehicles to be precise, to the security formations in Enugu State. There's also a government house commissioning component in all of that. We see also there that the president is being taken round that infrastructure by the governor, who was right beside him during that commissioning. And there are more projects, to go around on this day, January the 4th, as President Bola Tinubu commissions major infrastructure projects executed by the Peter Mba administration. We're keeping tabs on the president's itinerary from here in our Lagos studio, where Dr. Igboke has been. Dr. Igboke, takes some getting used to. Dr. Igboke has been with us here in Lagos studio. Dr. Igboke, a state-of-the-art project there. We see, that spread of monitoring equipment. We believe this is the grand center where the security of Enugu State will be manned. So anywhere that you are in Enugu State, it appears as if this is a monitoring station to ensure the security of life and property in Enugu is guaranteed. Talk to us about this security infrastructure. And it just ties into what we were talking about earlier on before we took that break to see this commissioning.
Commissioning is no longer physical. It's just not physical anymore. Countries that are very effective in the security invest more on technology. So security is now more a stealth approach, covert approach instead of overt approach that we are used to here. So security is not security personnel weaving gun and moving around or blowing of sirens, no, or mounting of checkpoints, So those are white, although it's from time to time when there's a crime and they need to stop and search, but not permanently, all those things. So we need to move from this old constabulary way of policing and some other things into a modern infrastructure. And that is what the governor has just done. So it's a matter of political will. It's also a matter of knowing when to prioritize your funding, because these things are not cheap. They're very expensive. And if you just feel that you don't do that, then what else? Because how many human beings do you want to police your citizens with? But sometimes, even when people who are committing crime, they forget that the cameras are there sometimes, because it's just hanging somewhere there. And these things are related. Some of the cameras you catch are just recording in their CCTV or whatever. But a lot of people who also have CCTV cameras in these towns don't have a command and control center most of the time. So you just records, and then when crimes happen, you want to go back how many days later to
how much of the coverage area of this command and control center in Enugu do you know?
Well, I know that the metropolis have been adequately covered. And then the local governments, some selected areas in each local government have been covered. Yes, but the governor said it will still go around. But as I say, with the launch of the Security Trust Fund, then more towns will come on board. But the metropolis have been adequately covered. The Enugu metropolis, the camera is everywhere.
And the camera installation that you talk about is everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere. When you go around the streets of
in all local government areas.
Enugu metropolis. There are 3 local governments that make up Enugu metropolis. Enugu itself is a town. It's a metropolis, a city. Now, where the name is derived from, the name of the state is derived from. So some people tend to confuse it. When you mention Enugu, there's Enugu metropolis, there's Enugu state, which the name of the state is derived from the metropolis. So the Enugu city itself has, then the Enugu state is made up of 17 local governments. So the remaining 14 local governments, because 3 of the local, Enugu North, Enugu East, and Enugu South, make up the metropolis. Now, the remaining 14 local governments have in their various local government headquarters. Then more are going to be built because there are, when you come to some locations like Igbetiti, where I come from, you have the local government area in Ogbede, you have major towns like Akko, here, and the rest. They are not they will get there, according to the government. But for now, they are just governing the local government headquarters, and then so by the time more funding comes for security, of course, the government said that it will go around the state. So the essence of this command and control center, that even what it has now, in terms of the security architecture, the cameras, and they are already, being channeled to this command and control center. Everything is being monitored, is being seen online, real time. Then, so which will happen if there are emergencies, apart from just monitoring, there's also a response mechanism where you can actually activate response team. For example, you are watching a camera and watching a crime happening in Abapanike, some part of Abakwa, where the camera catches, and you have this direct DRS, direct response squad vehicle there. What you can do is to activate them and say something is happening in the streets. Our camera just caught it, that's this, and that. And so that is the essence of it, because the patrol vehicle cannot be there and patrol everywhere. So the camera will help them. And it's at a 360-degree camera. It's an AI-powered camera. It's a very modern, they are modern cameras, and AI powered. So that gives you the opportunity to do a 360 degrees monitoring. So what we are now saying is that with this kind of command and control center, security will be easier to be monitored. Response plan will be more quicker. Also, coordination will be enhanced. And in this way, you can show when these things come together, you can say, surely, there's no way these things have been done all over the world and crimes don't reduce. So this is commendable. And the people also that will manage ahead have been trained adequately. So they said we hope,
it goes a long way to perform the function of deterrence that you talked about.
Yes, deterrence, monitoring, quick response, execution, and all those kind of things.
So as a resident in Enugu State, tell us how this investment, massive investment in infrastructure, has brought Enugu State close to its target of becoming a $30 billion economy that Governor Peter Mbah talks about more often than not. What evidence is on ground to see that indeed investors are gaining confidence and are coming in, are bringing in their hard currencies to put investment businesses on ground in Enugu?
One of the things the governor said when he came in was that he has a vision of taking Enugu State. Enugu State is currently, when he took over, was a $4 billion economy in the GDP. Now, he said for a whole state, that is too small. A lot of companies in Nigeria, especially in the oil and gas sector, have more than that. And why will a state as blessed as Enugu have just a paltry $4 billion GDP? Therefore, that he believes that Enugu has the potential to have a $30 billion economy while he's governor for 8 years. And that is his plan to achieve. And so he said, but you cannot achieve this if you don't change some certain narratives. So security was part of it. Infrastructure, that Enugu does not, as it stood when he took over, does not have the infrastructure to carry a $30 billion economy. Therefore, you need to start, and that is where he brought that there needs to be a lot of disruptions. And that is why he brought this his disruption mantra. That's, you have to be disruptive innovation. That's what he calls it. And part of it is this. Okay, now lots of projects are going on in Enugu. Enugu like it's like a construction site right now. Things like the smart school thing is going on. The hospital types, the primary health centers are going on. Those ones are also going to be in the whole wards. Construction, the fiber optic cables are being laid because the cameras are being run by fiber optic cables. It's not just any cable, so they have the fidelity of photo, fidelity of sound, fidelity of picture. When you now watch all those things, then roads, a lot of roads are also going on. Reconstruction of road, for example, there are some roads that are going to be dualized. The government has said they are going to dualize some road. And for me, like I tell people, even my friends, when I talk, I say I like a man who has guts, who has the confidence to project. So that for somebody who says I want to do this, I want this, and he has started it, and you could see him working steadily towards that. I give him kudos because it takes a man to say, look. First of all, that's why they said dream big. So the governor of Enugu State surely dreams big, and he's trying to match actions with words with some of these steps he's taking, and we are looking forward because if he succeeds, we succeed. The state is better for it. So we don't pray anything of that he doesn't succeed. And so far, the steps he's taking, there are confident steps towards success. And some of these things, they're on ground. When you go around Enugu, you cannot manufacture them. Fortunately, most of them are physical infrastructure, and so you can see them. He's doing it, and he's doing it simultaneously. It's not taking one sector at a time. Sometimes you ask, where does he get the fund to do these things? So the question, like education, is 33% of the funding
of the budget.
Of the budget, which even supersedes UNESCO recommendation. Remember, UNESCO recommends that education budget be 15 to 20% of the national budget. Nigeria has never done beyond 12%, even as a nation. And that was during the time of President Goodluck Jonathan, where we did 12%. So even many countries in Europe and the rest, they still don't do up to 20%.
Okay, so before we begin to expand on education, let's just wrap up on the economy and investment. Are you saying categorically that Enugu State is in transition, moving from the typical civil service state, that we find in Nigeria, to a state that is driven by, myriad of investments and a land of opportunity?
From what I'm saying on ground, I'm very convinced that we're on that transition. We're on that transition because when you do all this and they start bearing the fruits, the maximum fruits, of course, investors will start looking, what can we do? And there's also a tourism part where the governor is also looking at, talking about, there are so many, we have waterfalls, we have forests, we have flora and fauna, we have forest canopies, we have hills and mountains that you can connect with cable cars, and so there are so many things. We have natural resources. We have agri that is also building processing, special processing zones, all over. Revitalizing the asphalt plant also that is built, So there are so many things coming up, and also trying to revive the automobile plants and all those things. So when you see all those things, then investors will start having confidence. Investors will now start saying, okay, what is in it for them? And then from concessioning, from so many other things you will see. He's also talking about trying to see whether I can take over the airport and do concessioning with the federal government. So a lot of things are in the offing. And when that happens, that was how Lagos started under President Tinubu now when he was governor. Bootstrap, you couldn't believe, there were a lot of doubts whether he could do it. And then before, I was a Lagosian then. I was here even when the military administrator, Mara, was governor. So I saw the transition of Lagos, and I'm seeing the same thing coming. And I know when Lagos was a paltry 1.something billion naira IGR when President Tinubu came in 1999. Look at where Lagos is now. But it's a vision of one man that dreamt. And today, the investments in Lagos, because of these policies that are, barely under 15 years, 20 years, that started, bearing mass. In fact, under 12 years, Immediately, Tinubu handed over to Fashola. People also started saying this thing coming up. Fashola took it to another level, and that is because of look at what happened in Ikoro, look at the massive development, look at what has happened in Ekpe, look at a lot of sand filling, look at what has happened to Lagos within 1999 to now. So if it takes one man to start the dream, we hope and lay the foundation for others to follow. And
yes,
we can
so
do that.
We look forward.
If Lagos can do it, Enugu can do it.
We look forward to prosperity really in Enugu State.
It's not only Lagos that will prosper. Enugu can prosper.
Not just in Enugu State, but indeed the entire length and breadth of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Let's remind you on this special broadcast dedicated to President Tinubu's commissioning of projects in Enugu that he has already inaugurated the smart schools in Enugu, 30 of them out of 260 being constructed by the Peter Mba administration. He has also commissioned a network of roads in Enugu State. And earlier on, we saw him inaugurate the International Conference Center, for which Dr. Igboke has spoken to expansively on this set. And there's also the Command and Control Center, a huge security formation, state-of-the-art infrastructure that Mr. President has commissioned in Enugu State. So we were even talking about education,
Yes.
Curiously, before we began to expand on the conference center and, the security formation. 33% is huge of, I believe, Enugu State's over 500 billion naira budget in 2024. No, I'm talking about 2024 now, because this is a culmination of the 2024 project.
Sure.
So 33%, but as far as education is concerned, the narrative is more often that as the federal government is investing in, new schools, maybe universities now, there is also the need for a balance to ensure that the already existing education infrastructure, be it infrastructure or even the human component of it, is also taken care of to ensure stability in the education sector. So let's tie that narrative to Enugu State. As new schools are being constructed, what about the existing education infrastructure in Enugu State? Are they also being taken care of in terms of, teacher training, welfare, and all of that?
Well, this question, fortunately, was also thrown at the governor at the town hall meeting held in ending of November, because the town hall meeting was actually, an open, no bars session where the governor, people representing different groups, will ask the governor questions and he will answer. He didn't need any SA or any commissioner to answer the question for him. He was answering. And some of the things some raised that he was not aware of, he said he will look into it, and he even gave timelines, So for the question of when he was asked, he said that, look, he understands and that these schools that are being built is a new project, it's a new innovation. The configuration of these old schools may not fit into these ideas now.
But the old schools should not be left behind.
They're not left behind. For the old schools, for example, the tertiary institution, for example, he was also asked why were the tertiary institutions not, included so far. And the answer he gave was, for example, our schools of nursing, and the accreditations for many medical things that were left hanging, our higher institutions, have been cleared by the nursing council and some other, establishments. The nursing school, the School of Health Technology, and all those things that were not accredited for long, they have been cleared. They've all been accredited. Then there's experiential learning center now being built at Enugu State Science College of Science and Technology in Enugu there. Then the governor said that the smart schools will produce people that we go, because the idea of the smart school is the actually 6334 system of education. So where you have from the nursery to what we call GS3 now in one place. And then you move to higher school after you finish from the GS3. So you could see that other schools are not configured that way.
They're not
configured.
Yeah.
So the way this one is configured is that you do from nursery or primary 1, primary 1 to GS3 in the same place.
That is like a primary school
and a secondary school
combined with a secondary school,
yes.
First 3 years of a secondary school.
Yes, that was the original plan of 6334 system of education. So that's why the tree is divided. So you're not supposed to do this. What we have now, we still stuck to what we had when we had class 5 all over the country. Instead of, I had the opportunity to interview Professor Babs Afisha, who introduced that when he was still alive, so many years ago. And, he explained a lot of that to me. So it's supposed to be that you do 6 years, you do 3 years, you now do another 3 years.
3 years.
So what he's now doing is it's an integrated system now he wants to do, the governor wants to do. So he's doing already, because some of those schools have kicked off. So you do your 9 years, okay? And then by the time you're coming out, you're going to higher school. So what he has started doing, like old schools that I assisted, like Government Technical College in Enugu, it's a pilot for, they are not only doing, you now branch off. What do you want? So do you want to continue on the academic line? Or do you want to continue on technical vocation line? So by the time you are graduating from the smart school, you choose what you want. So are you going to technical school? So you do the technical vocation, which includes all kinds of things. Or you go to academics. So those are the things. Now they're already building that technical vocational school inside an old school called Government Technical College in Enugu as a pilot. Now, it's either that by the time those people are now coming out from these smart green schools graduating, government would have completed this thing and then focus on those ones. And so it's stage by stage. You need to do the grounds, you need to do your foundation before you build your state, before you do your lintel, and then before you do your roofing. So,
you're saying that it's well thought out?
Yes, and then 1,000 teachers for this smart school. I think they said they need 2,000 teachers. 1,000
for all 260, or for the first 30?
For the 260, 2,000 teachers are needed. 1,000 has been recruited already and training.
For the entire 260?
No, for these ones that are...
For the first 30 that are being commissioned today?
No, more are going to be... These commissioned ones are just the ones that are ready. And so the government is saying by September, all 260 will be ready. But to power the ones that are... Because more will be getting ready as the months are going by. Some will get ready next month. Some will get ready...
So the 260 schools, are they spread across the local governments in Enugu State?
I'm telling you that every ward... Okay. Actually, there's what you call political ward. The political wards now make up in the local. That's where the councillors of local governments are gotten from the wards. So that means it is spread.
The smart schools are represented in every
ward.
In every ward.
Political ward. There are 260 wards in Enugu State.
But the focus now for the smart school initiative is in these new schools that are being constructed. The old schools have not been transited yet. No, they have not been transited, but because so that you can have what is the timeline for the transition?
You can have a model.
What
was for the transition? We are looking. The government said they are looking at getting all these ones ready by September, and when they are ready by September, then the next stage will come. As I said earlier, they're also looking at transiting the existing secondary schools to be able to receive these people when they are graduating. So all those are in the mix. So that by the time you have 260 working, then you will have a lot of, also some of the ideas is also move some of those people from the old schools to these new ones.
Because I imagine being, in a secondary school in Enugu State, for instance, in the old order, and I'm looking at this green initiative, maybe in JSS3 in the old, under the old education system, which is supposed to be what we really should have from what you have explained. And I'm looking at this smart green school initiative, and I love it. I'd like to be a part of it, of this new learning experience. Can we take your word to the bank for those who would want this kind of new learning experience in the old order in Enugu State? Can we take your word to the bank that there is a timeline for transition, and of course the initiative will get to all the other schools in Enugu?
The governor assured that.
Okay. Let's remind you that we're still on to this special broadcast of commissioning of projects in Enugu State by Mr. President himself, who is currently in Enugu. Earlier on, the President has commissioned projects, smart schools that we've been talking about. 30 out of 260 are being built by the Peter Mba administration. He has also commissioned roads in Enugu. The International Conference Center is also on that list, and the Command and Control Center, a security formation, has been commissioned in Enugu State. And the President is headed for the stakeholder engagement at the banquet hall of the Government House. I believe the president will be interacting with the Enugu citizens at that event. Yet there you see the command and control center, and of course, security infrastructure vehicles that will be handed over to security agents in Enugu State. Dr. Igboke, thank you so much for holding on so far and for your expansive analysis of the work of the Peter Mbah administration. Talk to us about, we were talking about road infrastructure earlier on. How many kilometers of road did you say earlier was being commissioned?
Well, for now, there are 78 roads, I think, that have been commissioned by the president.
78 roads. So how?
The governor said he has done 71 urban roads, and then 8 rural, 8 gateway roads, I think.
That is at the heart.
Rural roads.
That is at the heart of the conversation. The concentration on urban areas where infrastructure development is concerned. But what about rural roads? All those roads in the hinterland, that connect to farms, that connect to, the agrarian population who need to move around and, of course, bring the food to the urban areas. So how much of those roads is the Mbah administration prioritizing, perhaps in 2025?
A lot of them. There are so many that I can't even recall all of them. But in all the 3 senatorial zones, the contracts have been awarded. Some of them have started. For example, in my own part of the Enugu North senatorial zone, where that leads to Nsukka main area, there's a road that was constructed, that now leads to, they call it Ugogonikopi road. That road is a single lane and it's very busy. After the collapse of the 9th mile Ubola Fomakol road, vehicles now start passing through Enugu town, and then start to connect from Enugu town to OP side of the road that now takes you to Ubola, because from the 9th mile end to the OP junction road have collapsed. Now, that road is the only gateway road to the north. So people from the south, everybody from the southeast, all the states in the southeast, all the states in the south pass through Enugu to access north. So you want to the dualization of that road, in fact, it has been flagged off. There's another road now, in fact, part of this one has been constructed, I think, up to 30 kilometers out of, I think, 47 kilometers have been constructed. There's a place called Eke Junction towards the what we call the 9th mile area. There's a road that leads all the way to Eke Oe and all those places. Iwolo. There's a polytechnic. There's a state polytechnic actually there. There's Agobowa. All these places, like Agobowa is a cashew and rice belts, a very serious one. Oe. So when you move to all those areas, AK is also known for cashew. There's a spur that also leads to Afa that can connect to Nze. There's a place called Nze that can connect to Uzuwani. Also, the other roads also being connected through the Enugu axis that will link to Kogi State. And then when it comes to the Enugu west and east side, we have Oduma, Nkerefi, Uboka, Nara, all those places are actually rice belts, a very strong rice belt. So the roads are also being, done to open up those areas, because there are special agricultural zones also being constructed in those areas simultaneously. So they're opening up all those things because its priority is actually in agriculture. That the agricultural potential in the state is so much. So much. Enugu state land is very arable, very fertile. And we have the land mass, so the farm. And then there's some of those, like the cashew belts, stretches from Enugu State all the way to Kogi State, large farm cashew belts. So building special agricultural zones, agricultural center, belt, processing, value chain from cultivation to growing, harvesting, processing, and then also to make sure that you have a good storage system so that you don't you cut down on post-harvest loss and all those things. All those things are what they are doing. The Commissioner of Agric is somebody also I know, and a lot of these things have been being done already. And there's so many other roads also being done to open up agricultural. So it's not just the urban roads, But first of all, the urban area, especially the capital city, is the heartbeat of the state. That's where things work. When you get the capital city right, then it's easy to get other places right, because that is where the administrative decisions are taken. That's where the policies are being done. That is your main. So every state in the country, and that is why even in Nigeria, you take care of Abuja first. Otherwise, the other parts of the country. Then when you do that, and it's going, people can now come, even have meetings and all those. The investors you are talking about, when they first of all come, the first place they will come is your state capital. And if the state capital pulls them off, they will not be bothered to go to the hinterland. So the hinterland is receiving adequate attention. And the governor has assured that, like the contracts, some of the contracts they awarded, we saw it on TV, we saw it on comments, that some of them have very stringent timelines, like some are 12 months, some are 18 months. The governor said that there's a style of construction that are using bank guarantees and all those things to ensure that just to boost the confidence of contractor, that even if the state, in case the state default, you can go back to the BG and claim your money. So some of those things are, so there are so many of them. The roads are so many.
Some others are reporting 90, that
there are so many of them.
Commissioning 90 urban roads.
So many of them. So that is what has been done. Are you getting the point now? So others are also coming on board, according to the government. In the 2025 budget, there are so many roads that, for some of us, we are looking forward to some of these roads, because it will cut down travel time, it will open access. The government was also talking about even doing rail to connect some of our towns, and put cable cars and all those things. Because it's not only road, but road was also the major component. I think the one you have first, you make it work, and that is coming up pretty well. Okay,
so let's talk about the infrastructure. One thing that will make the development of infrastructure closer and come faster to the people will be local government administration. And we see the flurry of activity in that regard in 2024, where state governments began to conduct elections at the grassroots level. So while the governor is focusing on infrastructure development, in the urban areas, in the central business districts, what is the disposition of the administration towards local government administration to ensure that, governance is more effective and gets to the people faster?
Actually, it will not be very correct. It's not correct to say that the government is focusing on urban areas. In Enugu State, it's not so.
90 urban roads.
90 urban roads.
That's facts.
Some of these roads are small roads, short roads, but when you go to one like the one you built in Isuzu, it's 47 kilometers. These are very long roads. So the rural roads are long, connecting towns and the rest. So urban roads, they are streets, so they are roads, actually, but they are also streets, you understand? So you can't compare, for example, the road that passes from here that terminates in the Sherry with a road we are building from here to Shagamu, for example. And so it is more expensive. It is actually more, the length of roads in the rural areas are more, because you are opening up in the hinterland. Some of them are virgin roads. Most of the roads in the urban areas are roads that are being reconstructed because they are failed, and some of that, they're connecting roads, new roads, maybe bridges to cross over, and so some of those things, constructing new ones.
Yeah, go ahead.
So basically, it's going on well. That the local government you're talking about, is something new. So now, there's supposed to be a partnership between the local government and the state. Before 2024, it was not so. I think money was just dumped into the joint accounts, and governors, do what they want to do with it. But with President Tinubu's insistence, and I think the first tranche has been released and the rest. So I think now, in Enugu State, during the time of Governor Sullivan Chibe, I think they had he gave the local government free hand to operate. I think they have a joint venture. Government identify the roads you want to do. Maybe bring 60%. The government will support you. The state will support you 40%. I think such initiative can also be introduced.
Well, what is the claim in that administration?
Your Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR. Let me welcome the hardworking, pragmatic governor of Enugu State, His Excellency Dr. Peter Ndomisimba. I'd like to welcome here the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Benjamin Kalu. We have now been very blessed with two former Senate presidents. I'd like to welcome here His Excellency Ken Namani and His Excellency Ayin Pius Ayin. The very past governor of the state, His Excellency Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, is also here with us. Let me welcome Chief Afeze, a pride to Southeast and a pride to Nigeria. Our royal father is here, he'll be of furniture. I'd like to welcome all of you, service chiefs that are here, the Inspector General of Police, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a pleasure to welcome all of you to these stakeholders engagement. Your Excellency, Mr. President, 2 dates, 2 years are quite significant for me as I'm here in Enugu State. One is 1809, when the Europeans discovered coal in commercial quantity that gave this state the coal city name. And the other is 1991, when Enugu State was created. But in slightly over 33 years, transformative, purposeful leadership is taking a journey in this state. So I welcome all of you, and I say thank you, Your Excellency the President, for coming here. And one secret I will leave to you now is that your 8-point agenda and the principles within the renewed hope agenda, I think the government of Enugu State is stealing from some pages of it and practicing in the state here. He's doing amazingly well. Can we put our hands together for him, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you. So without much ado, I understand the time left for us to do this very short. So without much ado, I will be taking the microphone to His Excellency, the Governor of the State, who will be formally welcoming us. But let me also welcome here my brother, Sheikh Tinubu. Thank you very much. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Federal Republic of Nigeria. Welcome to Enugu now. The Deputy Speaker, House of Representatives, Your Excellencies, my colleagues, Governor of Abia State, Governor of Anambra, represented by the Deputy, the Speaker, Enugu State House of Assembly, the Chief Judge of Enugu State, our leaders, former governors that are here, ministers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, our own, the Minister of Works, we welcome you to Enugu, your hometown. The National Security Advisor with us, the Inspector General of Police, we welcome you to Enugu. The Senior Special Advisors to the President and the Special Advisors to the President that are here, former Senate President, distinguished
Senator Ken Nnamani, the deputy speakers and other members of the House of Assembly that are here. Also our National Assembly members, senators, and House of Reps members that are here. Local government chairmen, members of the State Executive Council, former ministers that are here with us, former ambassadors, permanent secretaries, senior special advisors, and senior special assistants to the governor of Enugu State, captains of industry, our own Prince Ato Eze Ozibondu, we welcome you. Our revered traditional rulers, the Obi of Onitsha, that is here with us. Thank you very much for coming. We welcome you. Ndi Enugu, members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. As a city founded 115 years ago, Enugu has played host to countless historic occasions and visits by dignitaries from across the world. But this visit clearly represents a major highlight in Enugu's illustrious history. Your visit today is going to remain indelible in the annals of our history. Your Excellency, the honor that your visit connotes isn't simply borne by my government. It is an honor that the entire state, I dare say the entire Southeast, will cherish for a long time. It is an honor that draws an effusive gratitude from us. So we say a very big thank you and a warm welcome to Enugu State, Your Excellency. Your presence here today is also an opportunity for us to heartily commend you for signing the Southeast Development Commission Bill into law. We are particularly delighted because besides fostering infrastructural revamp and tackling peculiar ecological challenges in the Southeast, this commission will complement the many development strides unfolding across Enugu State. Just a few days ago, Your Excellency, you were announced by this day Board of Editors as the Man of the Year. This is a fitting honor that speaks to your steely determination to put our dear country back to the path of steady growth. Congratulations, Mr. President. Your Excellency, your credential as a true federalist stands out brightly, and the legacies thereof will for long earn you resounding accolades. In signing the Electricity Act, you liberalized electricity generation, transmission, and distribution. That singular act will always rank as an enduring legacy. It is noteworthy that Enugu State was the first sub-national to which regulatory oversight of the local electricity market was ceded. That's a reflection of how swiftly we are pursuing the goals we have set for ourselves. Our dreams may be grand, but by no means grandiose. Our goals include growing our economy from the current levels we met it of $4.4 billion to $30 billion. But we also recognize that a lot of the growth would come from private sector and that it would be government enabled but private sector driven. and which was why we immediately set forth at dawn. We recognize the security challenges. When we assumed office, we had the illegal sit at home, that this was a situation where some gang of criminals would dictate to us the days of the week we should sit at home and the days of the week we should work. We did not find that acceptable or even excusable. So we immediately made very consequential pronouncements, and with the support and the unwavering commitment of the security agencies, the police, the DSS, the Army, Your Excellency, I'm pleased to announce that we no longer observe sit at home in Enugu. Our people go to work every day of the week, and we no longer take orders from non-state actors. And we have been through a number of projects which Your Excellency has graciously commissioned. A number of those projects are essentially connecting the dots for us to enable us realize our dream of growing the economy from the current levels of 4.4 billion to 30 billion. Our development model is one that it's all-encompassing and inclusive. It takes into account the weakest amongst us, and which is why in the smart school, the smart green school that Your Excellency commissioned earlier today, it's being built across the 260 electoral wards in Enugu State. We're also doing the same intervention in the healthcare space. But Your Excellency, all these infrastructural developments are largely possible because of the bold initiatives you have taken, the courageous pronouncements you made in order to free up funds for development, the removal of fuel subsidy, the unification of the foreign exchange, and also a number of social interventions that your government continues to provide for the people of this country. We are now essentially, with those funds freed, able to fully complete these infrastructural projects. And it's not just fiscal infrastructure. They are both social infrastructure and digital infrastructure going on. So we thank you very much. I know the day is fast spent, and indeed we're honored that you were able to honor us with your presence to do this commissioning. I'm going to essentially yield the floor for our people who may have one or two things to say to you and invite you perhaps to respond. Thank you very much once again for coming. It is indeed our honor.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the Governor of Enugu State. And like I just said, we have 3 people that will be speaking, hopefully for not more than 2 minutes apiece. And I'll be starting off with the former Honorable Minister for Power, Professor Chinedu Nebo. Let's appreciate him as he steps forward here. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Your Excellency, we welcome you. I will be speaking about the Eastern Rail Line. Railway transportation is globally acknowledged as arguably the most cost-efficient mode of conveying bulky cargo and materials over medium and long distances. Hence, one must applaud your government for the dispatch with which this administration has approached the refurbishment of the Eastern Rail Line running from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. We appreciate that. From the last update, however, Your Excellency, we received on this project the refurbishment of this rail line from Port Harcourt to Aba has been completed and service was expected to commence. That is wonderful. However, this 1,443 kilometer Eastern Rail Line opens up access, unlimited access to the eastern half of the entire country, Nigeria, which will provide a much needed boost to non-oil exports from the northeast, middle belt, the southeast, and the south-south. In line with this, Your Excellency, we appeal most humbly for Your Excellency to prioritize the completion of these remaining portions of this critical rail link to enable it to boost the economic growth both across the affected regions and also for the entire nation as a whole. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, Professor Chinedu Nebo. Next, let me welcome here Onyemuche Namani.
Your Excellency, I will be speaking on the optimization of security strategies. Your Excellency, it is a well-known fact that security is key for the enthronement of peace, law, and order. It's also all of which are in turn critical for the encouragement of investment and economic growth. However, it is also critical that the right security strategies are put in place to avoid giving visitors and brothers in the diaspora the wrong impression that things are worse than they seem. These were some of the driving factors which motivated from modern statewide CCTV, modern camera mounted on patrol cars, some of which we have commissioned today, including our modern command and control center. It was quite easy to convince our governor to invest billions of naira on security. After all, he took an oath of office that says security of life and property is the primary primary business of government. But at birth also, he had another mandate. At birth, his name is Ndubisi. Yes, let's see, I don't know the meaning of Ndubisi. Ndu is life. Buisi, Ndu is the head. Life is the head. Ndubisi. In other words, life is the most important thing. That's why it was quite easy to convince him to invest so much on security. And there's everything in a name. You recall a certain traditional ruler from Bogu came to you some time ago, so many years ago, and called you Jagaban, commander. Today, you are the commander-in-chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Your Excellency, with the launch of these facilities, we are confident that there's less need for the traditional practice of mounting roadblocks at checkpoints. Checkpoints, in my view, have many drawbacks. Checkpoints and roadblocks. They make the movement of goods and persons very expensive, very inefficient, increase the cost of logistics, leading to high inflation. They tie down valuable security manpower. They needlessly exposed the brave men and women of our security agencies to attacks by criminals of all guises, of various guises, as well as to other vagaries of the highways. In view of this, Your Excellency, we appeal to you to support Enugu State and the security agencies to de-emphasize the traditional practice of roadblocks, stop and search, and all that. Our people are really complaining about those things. It will be a great honor. It will be a great boost. When we say de-emphasize, what we mean is that we are providing alternatives. You have seen the patrol vans, you have seen the cameras mounted all over the state. So we have alternatives to all this. So we just want to de-emphasize this issue of stop and search and roadblocks. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. And then finally, let me welcome Mr. Chris Ngu. Mr. Chris Ngu, please. Is that him? 30 seconds already gone from your 2 minutes.
Thank you, sir. Your Excellency, sir, you're welcome to Enugu State. I will stand on existing protocols to just talk very briefly on the need to call attention to develop the Anambra Basin as an oil-bearing reserve that impacts on the entire southeast, different from the well-known Niger Delta. So we're saying that this reserve called Anambra Basin holds nothing less than 1 billion barrels of oil and about 30 billion cubic feet of gas. And like all of us know, the future is gas. And we know the emphasis the present government is placing on gas as for so many reasons. Power generation, as a feedstock to industries, in the plastic, petrochemicals. There are plenty that we can achieve by doing that. We had a lengthy presentation, but I understand there will be no time to go through that. So we're appealing to Your Excellency, please, to help call attention to this dormant energy reserve in the so-called Anambra Basin. For explanation purposes, Anambra Basin borders on the south and the Niger Delta, and then the Benue Trough, just like that. And further up, we have the Bida and the Sokoto. But amongst the whole basins, let me say this for emphasis, amongst the whole basins as a frontier exploration for oil and gas, Anambra Basin stands #1 in terms of performance, in terms of reserves, and in terms of attraction. So we're appealing to you, sir, to please use your good offices to energize this thing for the benefit of entire Southeast and even the Middle Belt. You know, Benue State is just here, and after Benue, the entire North Central energy just lying waste there. That's why we're appealing to Your Excellency, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The mantra of the Enugu State Governor is, tomorrow is here. Everything he does is futuristic, and that's actually taking a cue from what the president is doing for the country. He referred to it earlier by congratulating him as a This Day and Arise News Man of the Year, probably Nigeria's own Man of the Year. But as far as I'm concerned, I'd love to always call you the Man of Men. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's therefore my honor and pleasure to welcome, looking resplendent in Isiago and the red cap, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR.
Your Excellency, my very good friend, Governor of Enugu State, the other members of the executive governors who are present, and I could see traditional ruler who was once my neighbor in Victoria Island, Obi of Onitsha. It's good to have you, and you are looking well. I thank God for you. Thank God for your life. The members of the National Assembly are present, and the former presiding officers, honorable ministers are present. Let me just do justice to the protocol already established by the governor. He's a man who knows better. He sees tomorrow today. He's doing a fantastic job. And my dear brothers, Alex Oti and the man who stitched democracy for us all to enjoy, to survive, our former Senate President. I can't forget that memorable time, and that time when third time effort was killed. You didn't commit murder. You put life into freedom, sustenance, constitutional democracy, and happy. Our friend Atoese, thank you for your generosity. Everything you've been doing for our family, for my friend. My wife gave me feedback of your contributions and everything. And it goes a long way to alleviate the problem of the needy, the vulnerable. And we appreciate who you are. Thank you. To former governor of Enugu State, thank you. Thank you very much for, all the efforts, both in the past and the support that you have given to the present governor. I appreciate that. We won't forget you. You are our friend. The talent and the hunt that got Oba, Peter Oba. You see, it shows so much of greatness of the Enugu State. No matter how much of our structure, concrete or metal, you build, without a good successor, you have gotten nothing. I'm glad Enugu has a very, very good tomorrow today. And I salute Peter Oba for his commitment to development. You built up a good team. I've reviewed a number of things with you. In Abuja, you've encouraged me on the technological advancement of the state, the commitment you have from private sector. I know your background. You know, the election is over. We have to move the nation forward. And you are demonstrating that commitment, irrevocable commitment to human development. I don't care which party you come from. My friend. So it's Alex Oti and many of you doing well, very focused. And it's not about the difference in languages and place of birth. No one of us has control of the mother tongue. You are created by God. You find yourself in Enugu, or you find yourself in Onitsha. You find yourself in Lagos. You are all a member of one big, huge family called Nigeria, but living in different rooms in the same house. This house, we must build it. Build it to satisfy our immediate need, which is not going to be enough yet, but our tomorrow too. That is why the removal of the fuel subsidy was necessary. You cannot spend the future of generations yet unborn in advance. Don't bankrupt the nation before they are born. And no, people will fight, grumble, abuse me and everything. But I asked for the job. I know what it takes. I believe in myself. And I believe I can gather a very good team and build a nation. It's our country. We have to work really hard for it to be a nation that we can be proud of. Change the narrative. Negative comment about Nigeria. I'm not taking that. I'm very proud of Nigeria. You all should be proud of Nigeria. Oba is proud of Nigeria. He's doing everything possible to improve security of lives and property, to attract foreign investment and other investors locally. Yes, I've listened to your questions about security. There's no better investment that you can make than the effective security of life. And I saw those vehicles, the stress, rapid response, is the way to go. It looked like the other name I created in Lagos, rapid response. Please, continue to cooperate and collaborate with your son, brother, friend here, who is really committed to pushing the development of Enugu State and be a good symbol of southeastern state, for that matter. I'm proud. The question of rail line is a work in progress. I inherited some of these critical problems, and I'm going to do it. Support for the gas infrastructure. Sure. Gas is alternative fuel. And there's no wasting of time, but invest more in it. We'll do it together. I'm lucky. I have good governors. No, some may be angry with me locally, but we just have to push. The pig, Yoruba, we say Yoruba, that the pig will get to the slaughter, but there will be a lot of noise. Live with the noise. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, the President, the Governor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this brings to a close the interactive session. I want to say thank you to you, Mr. President Tatsu. Thank you very much. We'll remain where we are and allow His Excellency, the President, to leave us. Thank you very much.
Mr. President there, President Bola Tinubu, wrapping up that meeting, that engagement with citizens in the Southeast, marking a climax of his one-day visit to Enugu State to commission a long list of projects under the Peter Mba administration. And we've been keeping tabs on the president's itinerary. Don't forget, he has commissioned 30 smart green schools, the Smart Green Initiative of the Peter Mba government. Of course, 90 network of urban roads built by the same government, and the International Conference Center that we saw that he inaugurated earlier on. Of course, not forgetting the Command and Control Center, a huge security formation in Enugu State. And I haven't been doing this alone. I've had with me Dr. Ambrose Igoke, Chairman, Guild of Public Affairs Analysts in Enugu State, who's been with me in the studio. And Dr. Igoke, we've seen how that engagement that peaks, the entire schedule of Mr. President drew government functionaries across party lines. We saw former Governor Ugwuanyi, we saw Governor Alex Oti of the Labour Party in neighboring Abia State also at that event. We saw the Deputy Speaker, we saw other politicians from other political parties. So it appears as if beyond the commissioning, there's also governmental relations, on this platform, sort of being a nucleus of, politicians from across party lines. Talk to us about that.
One of the things when I heard that the president was coming to Enugu State, one of the things I said to myself, well, this is a beautiful development. Our president is from the ruling party, which is the APC, while the Enugu State governor is from the People's Democratic Party, PDP. But the president deemed it fit to come, and commission projects. So there was the building of nationhood was not sacrificed on the petty altar of partisanship, of party partisanship. And that's a beautiful development in our polity. Things should not always be seen from the prism of political party affiliations. So that's a good one. I must commend Mr. President for that. And I also commend the governor for reaching out, because sometimes when you stay in the cocoon of your own political party, then you don't get it. So
you can see the networking. Also that could easily be mistaken for the governors from other parties and other politicians wanting to be in Mr. President's good books.
Why would you want to be the bad books of your president? Because the president is the president of the Federal Republic. The Federal Republic and the subnationals work together for the good of the subnational and for the good of the center. Therefore, there must be that mutual cooperation. There must be that mutual alliance for the both subnational and the federal government to move forward. So for a very broad-minded president who is not petty, who is open, and who knows the kind of job that it has been trusted to him, that is the kind of attitude we expect that you should. We didn't get that in the former administration, where the East was referred to as a dot, all kinds of slur being poured on the Southeast. So President Tinubu has demonstrated capacity in that respect, that across party lines, that when a governor is doing good and is not from a political party, you should commend him. When your own party person is also doing good, you should commend him. Governor Alex Otis of Labour Party came to pay a courtesy to the president, who was coming to the neighboring states. So that's a good development, and it's also a good development for Enugu State. We look forward to more projects.
That's a fine place to anchor it. Speaking of which, we hope that at the end of this year, following the implementation of the nearly 1 trillion Naira budget of Enugu State, we'll be talking about more progress in different sectors. Thank you so much, Dr. Ambrose Igboke. He is the Chairman, Guild of Public Affairs Analysts of Enugu State. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me on the show.
And that signals the end of this special broadcast. Don't forget to stay tuned to our continuing broadcast of programs right here on Channels Television. Speaking of which, a news round is up next at the top of the hour. I am Bukola Koka. Bye for now.